What's going on, everyone? Train Freak here, and today we've got our Rock Island train number 34. This is our local coming out of Little Rock, coming in to drop some cars off. And you can see that we're mainly going to be focusing on the bottom red section because that's where we're setting our cars out. But you can see everything that is on the train in order and what it is currently carrying and where these cars will be going to. So as our train comes in, we are going to have to break it up in sections and do a whole bunch of runarounds, and then we'll be shoving cars in their specific tracks. Now, as I have mentioned in the past, when doing these runarounds, we could pull up to 4 40-foot box cars or 4 40-foot cars of any type if you really want to be specific. The reason why I'm doing 3 is because that Southern Pacific car right there is a 50-foot car, so I would not have enough clearance to be able to do around a 4th car on this instance. Now, we are going to be shoving 2 of these cars into track 3, and then the last car is going to be going into track 2. Typically, when I try to do these runarounds, when I'm doing the shoves, I try to break it up by tracks for the most part, but sometimes it's just easier to mix a couple of tracks in together. So one of the things we're going to go ahead and do while we're doing our runaround is go ahead and connect to the rest of the train that we cut off, because we would need to pull cars up anyways to be able to run around the next cut. Alright, now that we are connected, we're going to pull our train pack just a little bit just to make sure that we have cleared the switch for the yard tracks that these 3 cars will be going in. As mentioned before, the first 2 cars will go to track 3, and then the last car will end up going into track 2, and then we will be able to do our next cut of cars. Okay, so that Seaboard and Airline boxcar that is full of grain is actually coming from the Manchester and Deepwater Terminal, and the industry is Southern States Grain Elevator. For those who don't know, that is our friend John Arthur, who is also a fellow modeler, and I will have a card in the upper right corner, so that way you can go check out his channel if you're not already subscribed. Okay, so now we're going to back up the train so that way we can get our next cut of cars prepared for the runaround. So we have dropped off all the cars that will be going to track 3, so the rest of these will be going to track 2 and then track 1. The tank car, this mobile, is actually going to be the last car going to track 2. So typically I would do another cut around 4 cars. This time we're going to do 3 cars. Okay, so as we've done before, we're going to pull these cars up on the ladder, so that way our locomotive can take the runaround track and go around and shove all 3 of these cars will be going into track 2. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and connect on over to the rest of our train, and then we will be able to connect to the cars that we just ran around. And for those that are like, well, you need a buffer car, no. Even though this is full of LPG, because we're not on the main line and we are also restricted to slow speeds, it is not going to be a major hazmat deal to where we would need a buffer car. So restricted areas off the main line and those areas that are also restricted to slow speeds do not require any type of buffer car. Alright, so now we are fixing to drop off our cars, and we didn't have to do a stop and check this time because we dropped off that Southern Pacific boxcar. So normally when a crew comes in and drops off cars, they will stop prior to coupling, just to make sure that those cars are still on the track and to make sure that, you know, the coupler is open. We didn't have to do it this past time because we, of course, dropped off that one car. So now we're backing our train up, or we just got it backed up, and we cut away, and this time we are going to be cutting around 4 cars because the rest of our train, excluding the caboose, will be going to track 1. So that's why I'm pulling 4 cars this time. And as before, again, we're going to go ahead and connect to the part of the train that we cut off, because it will also still need to be ran around. And we're going to go ahead and connect to the 4 cars that we did the runaround on, and we will pull them back to clear the double slip switch, so that way we can shove all 4 of these cars into track 1. Alright, now that we dropped off those cut of cars, because this is the last cut, we're just going to have to clear the double slip switch, and we will pull up on the ladder, cut our locomotive away, run around, and then we'll be able to drop off these last 2 cars and drop off our caboose, which will allow for us to start switching out the industries. Alright, now that we have completed our runaround, we're going to pull back to clear that double slip. We're going to shove these 2 box cars onto track 1, and then we're going to shove our caboose into track 4. I only like to put the caboose on track 4 because I need track 4 as kind of a lead to get in and out of the industries with other cars. Alright, now that we're dropped off our caboose, now we have officially changed into train 33. But before we build our train, we've got to do some switching moves. On that manifest, you'll see that the blue is going to be local moves, so that could be cars coming out of the yard to the industries, or it could be cars going from the industries to the yard. And then the greens are either pickups from these industries that were taken back to Little Rock, or they're going to be pickups from the yard that were taken back to Little Rock. So our first pickup is going to be from Morton Salt, and it's going to basically act as like two different spur tracks, even though it's really just one track. The building is not built yet, so we're just shoving cars kind of close to the end. However, there might be instances where a car would have to be spotted under that elevator back there in the back. Now we are going to make our way over to Fresh and Funky Produce to go pick up what's over there. So, as I've mentioned before, the green means that we're going to be taking it back with us. The blue just means that we're going to move it over to the yard for the other train to pick up. Alrighty, so what we're going to have to end up doing now is the PFE reefer and the Mopac boxcar. We are actually going to shove those two down the runaround track and use the yard ladder to run around those two cars, so that way we can shove them in a yard track. One actually has a destination and the other one will just shove into one for a temporary purpose until we get ready to build our train. Alright, because this Mopac car is going back to Little Rock, I'm just going to temporarily drop it off on track 1 since I have space there, because the PFE reefer behind it needs to go to track 3 for its destination. Alright, so while we're dropping off the PFE car, we're also going to be picking up a Rock Island boxcar because it needs to go to one of the industries. And there's actually a second car that's on this track that will have to go to another industry as well. So we'll have to do a couple of forward and backward moves and move this Rock Island car temporarily on track 4. Then we can also pick up the next car, which is another Rock Island boxcar, to put it on track 4 as well. Okay, so now we are done with track 3, so we're just going to go ahead and shove all these cars back into that track, and then look and see if we have any cars on track 2, and then work our way back down to track 1. The Santa Fe boxcar does need to go back to Little Rock, so we're just going to temporarily store it on track 3 until we are done with all the industrial switching moves. Alright, so now we get to work track 2, and we are going to pull this car. Now we can't connect this PFE reefer to the 2 Rock Island boxcars that we spotted out. This one is actually going to have to go on the runaround track because it's going to Fresh and Funky Produce. So we will have to pull the full cut of cars all the way back towards the main line so we can shove it onto the runaround track. Now we are completely done with this cut of cars, so we're going to go ahead and shove all of these back into track 2, and then we will start working the cars on track 1. Okay, so this car here is also going to have to be spotted beside the PFE reefer on the runaround track, since it's going to Fresh and Funky Produce. That is the only industry in this area that does require a runaround. And so that's why we have to have a runaround track. Alright, as we shove most of these cars back, we still have one that was in the middle of this cut of cars that we're going to need to pull, and we will go ahead and connect it to the other two cars that are on track 4 because it does not require the runaround. Alright, now that we've got that dropped off, we're going to go ahead and shove all of these cars back into track 1, and then we can go ahead and start taking our cars and start spotting the cars that we pulled out at the industries. So typically, I would go ahead and pick up the 2 cars that are going to Fresh and Funky Produce. However, I did not have enough track length for the 3 cars behind the locomotives and the 2 cars in front of the locomotive to be able to clear that switch and throw it. So we're just going to go ahead and drop off at Dreamweavers and Morton Salt. Now the middle car in that consist is going to Dreamweavers. The first and the second car is going to Morton Salt. We probably could have done a better job of blocking or picking the cars out in order as we needed them. But however, that was just a hindsight, so we're just going to have to drop off that one Rock Island boxcar that's going to Morton Salt, so that way we can go ahead and drop this one off. We'll connect back to it and then spot the 2 other Rock Island boxcars over at Morton Salt, and then we'll go and pick up our 2 cars that are going to Fresh and Funky Produce. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the Rock Island boxcar that we temporarily dropped off. So that way we can spot both of these cars at Morton Salt to where they will be going. Alright, so now that we got those 2 dropped off, we are going to go and pick up our reefer and our boxcar that's going to Fresh and Funky Produce. Alright, so now we're going to drop these off here, and that is the main line in front of Fresh and Funky Produce, in front of the truck that we're on now. And of course, none of my buildings are built yet. I do have all the kits in stock to build. I just got to build them. So now that we're dropping these 2 cars off, now the hardest part of the work is done. We just have to build our train, and then we can head back to Little Rock. Alright, so today we're going to build a very short train. We are going to get this Sidetrack Sunday car. It's at the very end, and we're actually going to go ahead and connect it to the Santa Fe car that we temporarily dropped off on track 3. And then we will drop the rest of the cut off, except for the Missouri Pacific car that is going by now, and then connect it to the Sidetrack Sunday car. Now, for those who don't know what Sidetrack Sunday is, it is a group of me and 4 other model railroaders that are within our YouTube community, and we do a weekly live stream Sunday evenings at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And I have links to all of the channels down in the description below, so feel free to check us all out and come be a part of our regular nutty program that we have every week. Okay, so we are getting close to being done. We're gonna cut all of these cars except for the Mopac car, because like I said, we temporarily set that when we picked it up earlier. And then we're gonna connect to our Sidetrack Sunday car, pick up that and the Santa Fe car. And then we can go pick up our caboose that is sitting on track 4 and make our way back towards Little Rock. Alright, so now that we got our caboose, we're going to go ahead and head back to Little Rock. However, we do still have to be at a restricted speed until our caboose passes the turnout and is fully on the main line. So while our train makes its way back, I would like to tell you to hit that thumbs up if you liked what you saw today, and if you like this type of content, feel free to hit that subscribe button and fill in the bell. That will let you know of all my future upcoming videos, whether they are operations, layout updates, sometimes some how-tos, and even my rail fanning videos. I would also like to give a huge thanks to all of my channel members, Patreon members, those who have purchased items off of my Teespring store, and those who have sent donations either in the mail or paypal.me, either or. That really helps keep the channel moving forward, so I would like to say thank you extendedly on that. And so now our train is fixing to start picking up speed, and as he makes his way out, I'd just like to say to everyone, thank you for watching, be safe out there, and happy railroading.